What I'm about to show you is filmed out of sequence. I've had the floor done for about a week now and had the vinyl laid, and I noticed right away that I had a dip in the center of the floor, and that dip was consistent with where the two pieces of the stock floor came together. So I'll kind of show you guys, in case you didn't catch it, what we have for a floor here. On the very bottom of the floor is the 3/8 mini cell closed cell foam that basically makes the floor level and adds some insulation. And then sitting on top of that, I have 1/2-inch polyiso in some places, with plywood, 1/2-inch plywood battons in others. And that's just to give a little bit more rigidity to the floor. I didn't want to use all polyiso, which I could have. I just, for some reason, I felt like I wanted some battens in there to kind of help take the weight. But I also didn't want to use all wood because of the additional weight on top of having the stock floor in. And the reason for so many materials is because I have to build up the floor to the level of these rails. So one problem that I encountered is mini cell is pretty amazing stuff. I carried a 900-pound pool table back here, and it didn't permanently deform the mini cell at all. So if you spread weight out across it, it does a great job. But I had a problem right here where the stock floor came together. It was dipping, and that's because these two separate sections, as you walked on it, your weight wasn't being spread across both. Your weight would be sitting on one. And as you can tell, it deformed the mini cell right at the seam, so I had a dip in the floor. And I couldn't live with it. It's easier to do it right now than later. So what I've done is I've marked the section of foam that I'm going to cut out, and I'm going to replace it with some 1/4-inch wood. This is 1/4-inch poplar. So what that'll do is it'll give me basically an all wood layer, because there's wood under here too. So it'll just be the 1/2-inch ply, and rather than mini cell on top of that, it'll be this 1/4-inch stuff sitting on top of the half, just for the location of the seam so the floor doesn't dip. So that's one mistake that I made, so I'm fixing that now. Alright, here's the section of foam I cut out. And I put some Sikaflex 221 on this. And that's just to keep it from, on a gravel, dirt road or something, slapping around against this other piece of wood. There, that'll give a more solid foundation for that seam. Alright, the main part of the floor is done. The vinyl I just cut out, and it's floating on top of the stock wood floor. And there's enough places where the floor is being retained by all the tie-down points, which all of these corners on the van are going to have cabinetry sitting over them, so you won't see the tie-down points. And then the floor comes right up to the level of the floor rails, which is what I was hoping for. One thing, today is like the first really hot day, so there's a couple places where the floor has a wrinkle over there by that tie down, but I'll be able to flatten that out. I just need to recut the vinyl around the tie down. And there is one thing I noticed is there's a line right across the middle of the frame, and that's where the two floor sections come together. So I wasn't able to totally hide it. You can see it a little bit, but I don't know, for some reason it seems to be getting better. I think the hot days, the vinyl's still laying itself down, but overall, I've got, still need to trim out the rear, and then this piece will get, it's probably the only piece that will get glued down is this narrow little strip down the side. That's a separate piece, but it'll be under a cabinet. I'll show you the side. I'll have to build up this step, so I bought some 1x1 wood that'll sit up here, and then I'm going to trim it out with the aluminum step nosing, and I'll probably just put the same vinyl that's on the floor along here to trim that out. Other than that, I really like the fitment. I really like these little tie downs. I think it all came out really nice. I also need the floor transition right here. Just haven't bolted it down yet. So yeah, there's the final product.